Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, the Honorable dear Ibu Santi Hawanti, PhD, as the lecturer of Second Language Acquisition, and all dear my beloved friends. Today, we will talk about second language acquisition, and the topic we are going to discuss is the concept of second language acquisition. And then next, how does second language acquisition occur? And what makes a difference between language acquisition and learning? And the next about the logical problem in language acquisition. And the last, we will discuss about the theory of second language acquisition. Okay, dear beloved friends, let's start discuss about the first topics about the concept of second language acquisition. Concept of second language acquisition. Second language acquisitions refer both to the study of individuals and groups who are learning a language subscription to learning their first one as young children, and the process of learning that language. Second language acquisition is the process of learning other languages in addition to the native speaker. For instance, a child who speaks Indonesian as the mother tongue starts learning when he starts going to school. English is learned by the process of second language acquisition. In fact, a young child can learn a second language faster than an adult can learn the same language. Well, the next we are going to discuss for this second topic is how does second language acquisition occur? This happens especially when they acquire their first languages. They repeat what is said to them and get a feel for what is and what is not correct. What makes a difference between language acquisition and learning? Language learning refers to the formal learnings of language in the classroom. And on the other hand, language acquisition means acquiring the language with little or no formal training or learning. The logical problems in language acquisition. First, children's knowledge of language goes beyond what could be learned from the input they receive. Children often hear incomplete or ungrammatical utterances, yet they can filter the language they hear to not incorporate into their first language system. Children are commonly recipients of simplified input from adults. Despite of only hearing a small numbers of possible grammatical sentences, children are able to abstract general principles and construct which allow them to interpret and produce an infinite number of sentences which they have never heard before. And second, constraint and principle cannot be learned. Children use language in accordance with general universal rules of language even though they haven't yet developed the cognitive ability necessary to understand these rules. Therefore, we will know that children must learn these rules by using something else, not imitating. The way how children develop their one linguistic competence is not directly determined by the input they receive. Children have similar pattern of language development whether they live among Africans or Asian. For instance, all children in the world's first production of speech is in liberal consonants such as mom or mommy for English or American, mama or ma for Indonesian, and uma for Korean. Theory of second language acquisition, and this is the one of the theory. Cranson's theory of second language acquisition consists of 5 main hypotheses. And the first, the acquisition learning hypothesis. The acquisition learning distinction is the most fundamental of 5 hypotheses in Cranston's theory and the most widely known among linguists and language teachers. According to Cranston, there are 2 independent systems of varying language performance: the acquire system and learn system. The acquire system or acquisition is the product of subconscious process very similar to the process children undergo when they acquire their first language. It requires meaningful interaction in the target language, natural communication in which speakers are concentrated not in the form of their utterances but in the communicative act. And the second hypothesis is the monitor hypothesis. According to Cranston, the acquisition system is utterance initiator, while learning system perform the role of monitor and the editor. The monitor act is a planning, editing, and correcting function when 3 specific conditions are met. First, the second language learner has sufficient time at their disposal. And the second, they focus on form or think about correctness. And the last, they know the rule. The third hypothesis is the input hypothesis. The input hypothesis is Cranston's attempt to explain how the learners acquires a second language, how second language acquisition takes place. What hypothesis? The affective filter hypothesis. The affective filter hypothesis embodies Cranston's view that the number of affective variables play a facilitative but non-causal role in second language acquisition. The last hypothesis is the 5th hypothesis from Cranston is the natural order hypothesis. Cranston, however, point out that the implication of natural order hypothesis is not that the language program syllabus should be based on the order found in studies. In fact, he rejects grammatical sequencing when the goal is language acquisition. Dearest all my beloved friends, that's all about second language acquisition and the 5 topics that have already discussed. I do hope that it will help us to learn about second language acquisition. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.